The game was finished Brighton Hove Albion 3, West Ham United 2. There was as much incident in that game as the scoreline would suggest. It was, I have to be honest with you, and I've been, well, very critical of Graham Potter, and there's certainly errors made in this game. I've been very critical of Graham Potter pretty much all the time, really. But I thought that was a little bit better. And I know it's probably a strange time to say it after a loss. I expected to lose today. I probably didn't expect to lose like that, truth be known. Let's go through the goals first, and then we'll get into, you know, a little bit of Potter, a little bit how I thought we played, and some of the individual performers. So, first half, I think it was relatively even, and I think the game statistics would show that Brighton had a few more shots than us, and just carried a little bit more cutting edge than we did. But there wasn't an awful lot in it. We had early chances. Certainly, we had Tomáš Souček playing as the number 10, really, and we had James Ward-Prowse and Lucas Paqueta in central midfield, and that was an issue. We got overrun on numerous occasions, and James Ward-Prowse in particular suffered, but it wasn't one-way traffic, not for a moment. We had our moments in the first half, we really did. I thought Bowen looked sharp, I thought Kudus looked sharp, and I say that as somebody that was disappointed that Potter did not start with Füllkrug. And actually, after a little while, I thought, well, actually, that part of the team's okay. The bit of the team that wasn't okay was the middle of the park, was midfield, and that was going to continue to be a feature throughout the game, although it did improve a little bit. Brighton went ahead. They scored an incredible goal through Ayari, is that his name? It was brilliant. It was a brilliant goal. It was a curling finish from about 25 yards. And ordinarily would be the best goal you'd see in a game, but it was going to get topped later on by a finish from even further out and with even more curl. But Brighton were in the lead, but West Ham did not down tools. We didn't surrender. Bowen looked sharp, as I said. Aaron Wan-Bissaka was having a brilliant game, an absolutely brilliant game. I mean, you know, it showed how much we really missed him last week, to the extent that I was watching him play. I was thinking, I wonder, actually, we may well have won last week against Southampton, because he makes a hell of a difference. He's a brilliant player, and it's not just me saying it. I think he'll probably win the Hammer of the Year, and I think rightly so. And so, if he's going to win Hammer of the Year, then by that metric, then he's been our best player this season. I think if you're missing your best player, you're going to suffer. And I think I should probably quantify that as well. I do also think Brighton were missing their best player today, and that was not a great Brighton team. That was probably, I'm going to say it actually, it's probably the worst I've seen Brighton in some time. And they still beat us 3-2. So if you look at it, it's not great. And I'm not going to suggest that anything was particularly great today. I'm mindful that I sit on these videos and ask for a little glimpse, something that shows we might be able to not be totally crap, basically. And I think I might have seen that today. But it's very small. I'm looking for such small crumbs of comfort. Anyway, they went in at half-time, 1-0 up. And probably did deserve to be 1-0 up, I think, if we're honest. Second half was weird. And the start of the second half was weird because they came out 100 miles an hour at us. They really were. But we scored. And I thought we scored. It was a good goal, actually. The finish itself was from Kudus, who really needed a goal, and that goal was scrappy. The goal wasn't scrappy, sorry, the finish was a little bit scrappy, but it was sort of like a tap-in, a sort of scuff tap-in from 2 yards. The build-up to the goal was really good. Wan-Bissaka played his part, but Bowen did really, really well, picked out Kudus. And he does so well when he's playing on the right-hand side. And even in the first half, to be fair on Bowen, even though he probably technically started as striker, he was always at his best when he was drifting out on that right-hand side. To be fair, just to rewind back, talk about Tomáš Souček a little bit. Tomáš Souček, even in the first half, we were having chances. He was gate crashing a box. He was doing what Tomáš Souček does. although that had reverted and changed in the second half because James Ward-Prowse was taken off, Fulkrug was put on, and then obviously Souček had to take a deeper role. But he was still trying to get forward. He was still trying to gate crash the box, and I thought it was a good goal. I thought it was, maybe the finish wasn't as clean as Kudus would have liked. He didn't care. He got into position. He got into position well, and he, something we've not done particularly well this season. And we were back in the game. We were very, very much back in the game. And at that point, it was incredibly open. And probably, if I'm honest, I still think Brighton was still slightly the better team. But we still posed a threat. We were still attacking. We were still doing so. I can't even remember now. I think Souček hitting the bar was in the second half. Maybe. I don't know. But look, do you know what? We had enough attacks that I'm now questioning myself as to when what particular thing happened, which I just don't think we've done that. I think throughout 90 minutes we posed a threat to Brighton, and I think that's the thing I probably come away with. I still think even immediately after we scored, Areola did a great save actually. Immediately after we scored to make it 1-1 with Kudus, went back down the other end. Areola made a really, really good point blank save. And he was going to have to make, plenty of saves. Make no mistake about it. He made plenty of saves today. And Brighton probably did deserve to win. In fact, they did deserve to win. No probably about it. But we weren't outclassed. And I think I was pleased for that. I was also pleased to see some spirit that we came back. And the comeback hadn't stopped them because it wasn't just 1-1. We carried on and we made it 2-1. And it was Bowen again. Back heel from Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who'd got closed down by his marker. He did a back heel. Jared Bowen swung in a really, really nice, deep, in-swinging, left-footed cross. And, well, it was Tomáš Souček at the back post. And he headed and finished really, really well. And it felt right. It felt good. I was absolutely delighted. It felt so good to be in the lead. It made me, I don't know how long ago it was, it just felt bloody good to come back from being down and then go on, and then, as I thought at the time, go on to win the game. But hey, this is West Ham. We weren't going to go on to win the game. We weren't even going to go on to draw the game. We were going to lose it. But at that point, it felt good. And I saw a spirit that I've not seen too many times this season when we've been behind to actually, to go on, get the next goal, get the draw, and then get into a winning position. So there was promise there with that. I thought it was a good goal. It was a headed goal, but a good goal. And there was a lot of back and forth, and certainly it was Hösler who was making a lot of the substitutions as well. And one of the substitutions he made, he brought on Mitoma and Munter. And he tore us a right one last time. I remember in the previous game. It's Minter, I know. But anyway, I thought he was really good in the previous game. And they started to cause us problems. They're fast wingers. No more so than Emerson. So I think Potter, at this point, made a decision. And what he was going to do now was bring on Soufal and take off Emerson. Now, when he's done this previously, and to be fair, it was something that Lopetegui used to do, would move Wan-Bissaka over to play at left back or left wing back, whatever you want to call it, and then Soufal would go over to his favoured position on the right. And whatever his reasoning, he didn't do that on this occasion. He didn't do the switch. He just left Soufal in Emerson's position, which anytime, if you've seen Wan-Bissaka play on the left this season, he looks just as good as he does on the right. Maybe it was because Wan-Bissaka was having a real impact in this game. It was my man of the match. Him or Bowen. Him and Bowen, man of the match for me today. But he left Soufal there, and it caused us a bit. It caused us a bit of a problem because the cross came in from the other side of the pitch and I think. I can't remember the guy. Gruder, something like that. The ball got crossed over to the wing where Soufal was meant to be, and Soufal had got sort of caught up double marking. West Ham were doubled up on one of their players, and it was sort of in the area of the pitch where Soufal should have been marking. I think if Emerson had been on the pitch, he would have been marking there. And certainly, I think if Aaron Wan-Bissaka had been playing at left wing back, he'd have been marking there. And Gruder, or whatever his name is, just had a free header. He just got to knock it across goal. Maybe Mavropanos could have done better. Maybe he could, but I think it's really, really hard when you have someone in a position unmarked. And that's what happened. And I felt for Soufal, and I thought at the time, I was surprised when Soufal came on that Potter hadn't swapped him over and put Wan-Bissaka there. But anyway, so they got the equaliser and, you know, headed home from quite close range. Was Mitoma. And I think Mavropanos would be disappointed that he didn't get the header. But as I say, that ball, that never should have been there. That should have been cut out. The problem wasn't so much that Mavropanos got beaten to the header. The problem was that there was someone else, Gruder, unmarked in our box. That was the issue, right? Maybe somebody who's better at these things and can, you know, whatever, knows the pattern of play better than I do, maybe, would suggest, oh, actually, no, but that was someone else's guy. But you would expect your left back to take that person ordinarily, right? So at that point, that was 89 minutes. It's 2-0, and I'm thinking, okay, all right, fair enough. Not brilliant, but promising signs, and we have still managed to attack for the entirety of the game. There were positives to come from it. I mean, they won. It's sickening. It's sickening. And the thing is, whilst there are some small positives to take from West Ham, you can have no complaints. There's no complaints from me. Because West Ham did make mistakes. We didn't defend well enough. But this last goal was nothing to do with defending. But once again, like with the first goal, which was Ayari, too much time in midfield. And I think, as I mentioned at the start of the video, that's a real problem for West Ham. It's not a new problem, of course. But I guess when you're going to play three centre-backs, you are, I guess, going to be playing one less midfielder in there. And I don't know, does a centre-back come out and try and close that space down? You couldn't say that with the Baleba goal, which was in the 92nd minute. It was from about 35 yards out. I mean, it was as close to the halfway line as it was the 18-yard box. It was mental, honestly. Some proper curl on it. I mean, he went so far wide to the goal and then curled back in. It was, you know, even as a West Ham fan, to be on the suffering end of that, I have to say it was a thing of beauty. It was an incredible goal. An incredible goal. And they won 3-2. But, and I'll probably, you know, more or less leave it about there. I mentioned enough individual players. But I thought we were okay. I did. I thought Dunk had to play really well to stop us scoring more goals. I don't know if you thought the same if you watched it. I thought Dunk had a really good game. And there were so many things he did that were last ditch. They were like almost off the tip of his toe or the last gasp clearance. And I guess that's the difference between a good defender and a bad one, right? And I don't think it was a great Brighton team. I really don't. I think this is Brighton on a bad run of form. And they probably needed to play West Ham. And I'm not, you know, that's sickening to concede in that last moment. But as I say, I've been saying all week, give us a glimmer, give us something. So I can't say all that and then get a little bit of encouragement and then, you know, sort of not, you know, go back on what I said. So there's little bits. There's a little chink of light, you know. Maybe. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe you think differently. But it was nice. It was nice to be in the game. This is how bad it's got. It was nice to be in the game. And not in a way that Potter says about keeping it competitive, because this would have been that. But this was it was a lot of back and forth. It was an entertaining game of football, actually. But it was also nice to look. I don't know if you did this. If you go on to Premier League, it has the live table, and I you know, like an idiot, I guess. Yeah, I did. I looked at the league table after 85 minutes. And I thought we were 14th. We were 14th, and that looked good. Isn't it funny how you get used to being at the bottom, so your expectations? 14th would have looked shocking a couple of years ago. And I was looking at that thinking, oh, that looks better. That looks good. Cracking like a vampire. His sun's... There you go. The sun's coming through. Anyway, I think I'll go into more detail tomorrow, I think, about... you know, there's a number of things to take away from that. You know, Potter, a bit of improvement there. I actually felt sorry for him. I did feel sorry. You know, to lose a game to a goal like that. Anyway, and I don't think, I did think we invited it upon us against Southampton. I don't necessarily think we did in that game. I do think he made a mistake by not swapping Wan-Bissaka over. But okay, look, well, I'm not saying it with hindsight. I was shouting it at the telly at the time. So, but yeah, mate, look, I don't know. Who knows? And ultimately, it's still another loss, and it does not look good at all. And he needs to follow this up now. He needs to get a win. He really does. Maybe you could say that was an unlucky loss. Well, that's okay. You can have unlucky losses, but they can't be sandwiched around. They can't be like punctuated one unlucky loss in amongst loads of other losses that weren't unlucky and shit draws. You know, so we're going to need a win. We are going to need a win, and that's certainly not changed. Anyway, there you go. I'm going to love you and leave you now. I'll be back tomorrow morning with a video. Enjoy the boxing if you're going to watch the boxing tonight. And there's a few people that like the boxing who watch this channel. So yeah, enjoy that if you're going to watch that. Enjoy the football if you're going to watch the football. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. The sun's out. Well, you can see the sun's out there. I can prove it. I'm not lying. Yeah, sickening result, sickening end to the game. But I think some crumbs of comfort, maybe a chink of light at the end of the tunnel. But man, we've got to sort that midfield out. We've got to sort that midfield out. That's yeah. Anyway, that's a conversation. Do you know what? I'll go. I'm actually gonna record tomorrow's video now, and I'm gonna go into that. So if you've not subscribed to the channel, but I never say this stuff. If you're not subscribed to the channel, just go and check, please. Check if you're subscribed, and then next to the subscribe button there's a bell. If you've got the bell, then you get a notification to your phone. You might not like notifications to your phone; they're quite annoying. They are quite annoying, aren't they? To be honest with you, but yeah, you get a notification each time when I upload a video, and that'll be tomorrow morning certainly. And you stick a thumbs up as well. You're not thumbs upping. Is that a word? You're not thumbs up in the result. You just thumbs up in the. I don't know that you like them. Might not like the video. Yeah, might want to give it a thumbs down. I don't bloody know. Anyway, any help is greatly appreciated. And yeah, I'll catch up with you tomorrow morning.